get ready to do lots of throwing drills, I wanted to take a moment to talk about feedback from your throws. Watching how the ball flies and where it ends up can tell you some things about whether or not, about problems with your technique. First of all, when we throw the ball, I like the ball to spiral up out of the hand to begin with, and the ball will turn over and be coming downwards. Some people have talked about wanting the ball to always be flying nose upward. I'm not a fan of this because when the ball spirals and turns over, you can get a trajectory that can go over and between people much better than trying to throw a ball that's always upward. This tries to keep climbing, and even as it's coming down, it's trying to climb, and as a result, it is a flatter throw, as opposed to having to throw that medium range throw that someone might be able to get to, but when you can put it over them and still bring it down nicely to your receiver, I find that very helpful in touch, in tackle, knowing that I can have a little more of a trajectory while still throwing very hard and not affecting its speed in getting there. It's very helpful. So, if the ball is flying nose upward, you're releasing it where the ball is going this way, but your hand is tilting the ball upward. If the ball is burrowing into the ground too much, this doesn't happen to too many people. It's because they've hooked the ball, so the ball is going this way, but your hand position is down there, and that leads the ball to go off and burrow into the ground. Generally, the problem with spirals in terms of their pointing is really it's tilted upward too much, and it doesn't have that nice trajectory, carving out a really nice trajectory. So generally it's because people flick their wrists open too much instead of a firm wrist that's really straight. In fact, there is very little wrist action in the throw. All of the action that people think is wrist action is in fact the forearm pronating and supinating. This action, there is very little. Now at the end of the throw, you may see the wrist bent a little bit, but really during the throw, it is very flat, and there's forearm twist that generates the spiral. There is no wrist action. Even if you could get some wrist action, it is so finely tuned that it will lead to just as many bad throws and good throws. There is very little wrist action in the best throwers' motions, right? So no wrist action. Now, the bigger things I like to look for are, does the ball end up left of the target or right of the target? I can tell you that most people, right-hand throwers, throw to the left of the target for two reasons. They step left when they begin their throwing action, or they have too much upper body action, not enough lower body action, which also leads to a left throw. Now I should tell you that even this left step can lead to a left throw, but it can also lead to an overcompensation where people throw weakly to the right, knowing that they have to compensate for stepping to the left. Let me show you what an improper left step can cause. So when I step to my left, that can lead to a left throw, obviously. But people that step left and they know they want to get it back to the right, to their target, step left, and it leads to a weak throw that can go right because of this overcompensation. So that left step can actually lead to both. The biggest one, though, is for throwing to the left, is that a quarterback is not using their hips enough and using their upper body too much. So here we are, we're going to step and upper body. And they end up, because they think the throw is so much about the upper body, that they throw with their upper body mostly, and they don't get their hips into it. So here, upper body, and they really lurch across to the left. When you step properly and keep the hips closed, all right, to here, look at how at this point hips come through, hips are ahead, and then we come through. This is one of the key things. It's called timing. Timing the body parts. The left foot goes first, the hip goes second, the torso goes next, the shoulders, then the arm and the forearm. It is getting the proper sequence of these body parts that really determines the strength and accuracy of the throw. So watch where the ball ends up. You can often get a very good clue of what's wrong with the throwing action by watching how the ball flies and where it ends up.